Hi guys, Mandy from Tidy Sticky Mama here, and it's time for a look at how week 3 in the KonMari 8-week tidy challenge went for me. This week's tidying focus was books, and it was actually a pretty quick category for me. I don't have very many books left after doing my festival in 2015, so I managed to blow through it in one day. I took a couple more days kind of fussing with my bookshelves to get them just the way I wanted to, but for the actual sorting, it was all in one go for me. But I realize that might not be realistic for those of you that are doing this for the very first time, or those of you that do have a lot of books left. The final count on my books, in case you are curious, was 92, including the cookbooks. I love them, each and every one. I am not 100% content with my bookshelves at the moment, but that's kind of due to the shape of my shelves versus the shape of my book. The largest portion of my collection is paperback fantasy novels. So when my bookshelf is this tall and my books are only this tall, it's not making a very good use of space. So I need to figure out a way to kind of put some extra shelves in my bookcase, I think, for the ones that I want to keep upstairs. My storage for my books is split. And the reason for that is there are some books that I access frequently that I keep upstairs and in my bedroom, or ones that I especially want to see on a regular basis. The rest I keep downstairs, mostly ones that I don't want my kids maybe getting into, or very personal titles that I prefer to keep more to myself. And those I keep on the bookcase in my craft room. My cookbooks I do keep in the kitchen, but I keep them away from all of the cooking surfaces so that they're not getting messy. If you do want to keep your cookbooks in the kitchen, please try to keep them either in a cupboard or as far away from all of the grease and flour and heat as you possibly can, because there are books and we love them, right? So we want to take good care of them.
So on to the actual tidying. Step 1 is emptying the bookshelves and retrieving books from anywhere else they may be hiding. Check nightstands, bathrooms, purses, anywhere a book might have been read and stranded. Pile them all in one place so you get the full visual of how many books you actually own. Mine fit on my bed with room to sort, but in 2015 I had to clear floor space to fit everything. Quick survey of my pile here. Every single book I own in one spot. Except, oops, forgot my magazines. Now I'm sorting them into two categories, books read for pleasure and books with a purpose. I did struggle a bit here with things like hobby manuals and purpose-y books that I really enjoy for the book itself, like The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, but I think it worked out in the end. There we go, books for pleasure on the left and books with a purpose on the right, and we are all ready to start joy checking. I kind of miss these books. A lot of them haven't been read since before I had kids, so I think I need to crack a few open again. My books with a purpose, though, are living their best life. I pull something out of this pile at least once a week. Starting my joy checking with a little pat to wake them up. This is especially important on the fiction books because I haven't read them in a while. Remember, we're just touching them, not reading them. You need to handle each and every book. But if you do have a series, you can treat them as one volume. This is a great shortcut if you're the type that tends to have large series of books, or if you can't bear the thought of breaking up a series. And yes, it's totally Marie Kondo approved. She suggests it herself in her book Spark Joy, which is a fantastic companion to The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And if you haven't checked that one out yet, I really recommend that you do. It's like a tidying encyclopedia, and it helps answer some of the finer points of the tidying process and helps with suggestions of how to store things when you're finished. Now, the books with a purpose can be a little less straightforward than the books read for pleasure, especially because they contain information that we may actually need. But in this wonderful age of the internet, a lot of it can be found online. So if you're on the fence about keeping something, let it go. Be sure to keep your vision in mind, especially when you are doing these books. Don't hang on to things that don't line up with it. If you've got books about hobbies that you aren't going to be making time for, or cookbooks in a way that you don't actually enjoy cooking, let go of it. Just get it out of your life if it does not align with your vision. There you go, all sorted. Like I said before, my collection was already pretty joy-sparking, so I just have a couple of things to discard. Now this may be a little excessive, but what can I say? I love organizing. I wanted to sort my books one more time so I could get them separated into categories for putting away. I tend to prefer to store my books with a purpose by topic, so that's what I'm doing here. I mentioned before that my storage for my books is split up, so I'm also kind of sorting them into where they're going to go when they get put away. My books for pleasure end up sorted out by author, more or less, with a couple piles of singletons. And the books with a purpose are done by topic. Then begins the part that actually took me the longest, putting things away. I brought out a box to help me get the books downstairs that are going to go on the shelf in my craft room, and the rest will end up on the shelves upstairs, with the cookbooks returning to their place in the kitchen. Altogether, the sorting process really only took me about an hour start to finish. But then me fussing around with my bookshelves probably took me another hour over the next couple of days. I was arranging and rearranging some more, and it took me forever to get to a point where I felt like it really clicked. At least the cookbooks were fairly easy for me because there weren't very many and I knew exactly where they had to go. And yeah, I know, some of them are horizontal, but they fit nicely there and I don't have to get a bookend, and there's not so many that I won't use the book on the bottom, so it's fine.
Was this week as painful as you expected, letting go of books? Let me know in the comments how it went for you. If you want to see how my bookshelves turned out, head over to Instagram. I posted my shelfie from the last day this week over there. Next week is probably my least favorite category. Paper. With school not in session right now, we have less of it around than we usually do, and I generally do keep it pretty tidy. But it's a bone of contention in this house. I married a plopper. So I'll catch up with you on that soon. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you know when it hits and so you can stay with me on this 8-week tidying challenge. I know a lot of the KonMari stuff we see out there on social media looks like a magazine, but as you've seen so far, mine is real life in a small house with kids. So if that's a perspective you've been missing, you're in the right place. Bye guys, see you next time. Stay with us.